There's a war for our minds, for our consciousness happening right now. It's a stealth war. We were born, all of us were born into a matrix. There's a darkness. The ancients called it the archon. There's a darkness that has infested our planet and our minds. All the institutions are more or less controlled by this darkness. The Epstein files, which are a system of capturing people in compromised moments in very immoral acts, has virtually, that kind of thing has virtually all the politicians and celebrities and newscasters, all of them are held hostage by the agenda. And the agenda is global and it's taking over. Part of it is the digital ID and the facial recognition that's been in our phones for the last 6 or 7 years, whether we gave consent to that or not, which we didn't. Part of that is the nanobots that are now infesting our blood, the blood of both the vaccinated and the unvaccinated, because these nanobots are shed. The nanites gather together, they form robots, they create little machines inside of us, little transceivers like modems, communicating with the towers, the 5G towers, the GWEN towers, the satellites. And the research I've seen shows they can influence thoughts, emotions, moods, attitudes, interpretations with frequencies from space. It's a takeover. Klaus Schwab said it. We're doing it in a stealth way. It's a stealth takeover of our consciousness because as they control our consciousness, they milk our life force. You can see that in the research that's been done by, I'll think of it later. She has shown that now we're all basically the internet of bodies. It's a battery system to run their AI. Consistently, the noise in our head, the conversations, the musings, the commentaries, the critical appraisals of ourselves and others, that is all the algorithm of the mind virus of the archon, of the darkness that has infected our consciousness and our planet. Fortunately, there's an alternative that's readily available to any of us who choose to take it. However, it's pretty difficult because we have to stop the noise in our head long enough to notice what's always already here what we are. This clear, open, awake presence. It's wired into the cosmos. We think we're separate from everything. It's never been true. Inherently, each one of us is connected with our source, with the purity, the universal goodness of the one that is all that is. And whenever we interrupt the noise in our head for a moment, preferably a longer moment, we can experientially notice the innate goodness of what we find here and here in our hearts. First of all, because the noise is dulled down, it's silent, it's peaceful. There's a sense of expanse, of being. It's all inclusive. It's connected with everything and everyone. It is the non-conceptual knowing of this present moment. And that's most essentially what each one of us is. And we're at a choice point. And for many of us, I suspect it's too late because the conditioned, the program patterns that run our emotions and run our consciousness and run our mind are so well established in the neurophysiology, the neuropsychology, the neurorelational field of our being that it's unlikely we'll be able to secure an outpost in our actual being before this whole thing gets locked into place. I suspect there's very few of us who are going to stand in ourselves. We'll see. My wife and I have been, my wife's a therapist as I am, and also a spiritual practitioner. I mean, I've been at it since I was 17. I doubt if any of my teachers would say I'm their exemplar student, but I have been pretty dedicated. My wife and I have been talking about a course to help people somatically clear their trauma. One of the things we've studied. Help people become capable of experiencing and staying with difficult emotions so their organism can, one, learn to tolerate it, and two, develop new strategies for how to be when that stuff is triggered. There's a whole fundamental core of beliefs that each of us developed under the influence of this AI algorithm, this mind virus of the darkness, the archon, that we accepted as we were kids. We're infants and babies and toddlers and kids, and suggestions are whispered in our ear. And we take those suggestions and take them to be truth. And they become the fundamental interpretations of self and other, self and world that we live from. They're part of our version of the mind of this world, which is insane because it's disconnected and it's not our natural state. It's disconnected from our own essence. It's disconnected from each other, from nature, from the sacred and the divine. And that's what's natural to each one of us. Before any religious beliefs that we were raised within, we each all have a fundamental connection with the source. The more we orient ourselves to the source, the more we turn our attention back to the source, the more that becomes eventually, gradually, our default setting. If that does not happen, we're caught. We're ensnared in the mind world of the matrix. This takes practice. This takes diligence. This takes being awake enough to realize they're building computers inside of us without our consent to connect us with their version of reality. It's a man-made version of reality. Meanwhile, we're already wired, connected to the source.